Everybody. Welcome to this session. We're going to be talking about something that applies, that really is kind of like the underlying baseline of this whole community. And I'm really excited to share this information with you guys. We are going to be talking about the income stream blueprint, and this is actually the framework that we use in order to help our members to determine what type of income stream is best suited for them based on their lifestyle, their income, their current income, what their goals are, everything else. There's a lot of noise all over the internet about different ways of making money, different ways of supplementing your income. And in our community, what we want to do is focus on income streams that make sense based on where we're at and what we can realistically invest. So this is our framework for how we do that. And I'm really excited to share this information with you. And let's go ahead and get into it. So here's what we are going to be covering in this session. We're going to be talking about the retirement gap that nobody warned us about, why the old plan stopped working, and why this isn't your fault. We're also going to be talking about the reframe, income, not just savings. A lot of times you'll hear when it comes to people, especially in our age bracket, that we need to just invest more. However, if you don't have a bunch of additional income or leftover income from your daily or your current monthly expenses, then that may be not possible. So we're going to talk about how to generate additional income that can replace your retirement and or fund your retirement savings. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into the 4 income stream pathways: the foundation, the side hustle, asset base, and business building. Then we're going to talk about finding your pathway. We're going to take the pathway assessment together, leave with a clear pathway match. Then we're going to look at the stacking strategy, how streams build on each other and what not to stack from day one. And then we're going to talk about the 6-month rule, plus your next step, and why commitment beats strategy, and where to go from here. So as you can see, we have an action-packed session. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now let's first start off with the problem, the gap that nobody warned us about, and why doing everything right still got us here. This is the math for someone who is looking to retire and not work. Now, the average Social Security benefit of your average American right now is $1,900 a month. Now, what I want to ask you, there was a time when there was something called pensions. People retired with pensions where they would literally get a certain income for the rest of their lives. But the vast majority of people in corporate and even in the public sector are not getting pensions like that anymore. So there is the necessity to have your own invested retirement savings in addition to your Social Security benefit. But what if you haven't really built up your retirement savings? If you have not built up that nest egg, then you're looking at the average Social Security benefit being about $1,900 a month. So I'm going to ask you, do you think you can realistically live on that? Could you maintain the life and the lifestyle that you've built on that? And I'm going to say, probably for the vast majority of you, if you are here in the United States, then that is probably a resounding no. Just actually, I put gas in my car this afternoon, and it cost me $90, whereas a few months ago it was costing me about $47 to fill my tank up. So the cost of living is through the roof. Groceries are very high. Housing prices are high. Utilities are high. So $1,900 a month for a lot of people is really just taking care of their utilities, their incidentals, not even covering their insurance, nothing like that. So, alternatively, let's talk about this other number, $2.5 million plus. This is what experts are now saying that you will actually need in order to retire comfortably. And most of us, at a certain point, if you've ever been to any retirement workshops or talked to a financial planner, then most of us were probably told that we should just focus on getting to $1 million. Uh, but that number has changed mid-game because everything has gone dramatically up. So the gap between what we were promised and what it actually costs to live now is very real. And that gap is not because you did something wrong. It's because the rules quietly changed, pensions disappeared, costs outpaced raises, and the math stopped working for people that are just following the plan. Now, if you feel behind, you are not the problem. You more than likely did everything you were told to do. You worked, you saved, you played the long game, and that plan you trusted just stopped working for reasons that have nothing to do with how hard you tried. I'm going to say this as somebody who has been through financial calamity. There it can be very humbling because for a lot of people, there can be a shame built up around the area of money and finances. And if you are not in a position that you thought you would be at a certain age, then a lot of times people tend to keep it to themselves. They're not really forthcoming with that. And they're also, because of that, not really seeking out the help and the support that they may need in order to get back on track. For me, I had massive financial calamity many years ago, back in 2008, with the big financial crash that took place back then. And with that, I had to file bankruptcies, just a whole lot of financial calamity, lost properties, literally had to start from zero. So coming from that place and just trying to rebuild myself financially where I could live comfortably again, do the things that I wanted to do, and just, be in a comfortable financial position, it took a while. So although I would put a bit of money away, I wasn't actively investing with the intention of looking at retirement. So there's a lot of different things that may be going on based on where you're at. You may have, played the long game and did your own investing and did everything by design, or you may be like me, something happened in your life. Maybe it was financial calamity, maybe it was a divorce, maybe it was a death in the family. All of those things can really impact, our financial trajectory. But again, what I want you to be left with this is that the number that you need to have in retirement savings in order to live comfortably into for the rest of your life is now higher than it used to be. Again, you're looking at between $2 to $2.5 million that you need to have saved and invested in order to fund a comfortable retirement. And if you are behind on that, then you need to be looking or thinking about an alternative path. So the new question: stop racing the clock. Start building income streams. Income-based retirement is a different game with different rules. So let's talk about that. Now let's talk about two different people, and they're asking two completely different questions. One person is asking, do I have enough saved to retire? Now, this is a savings question. It assumes a fixed pile of money that you'll spend down, and you are racing a clock in order to grow it big enough before you stop earning. There are a lot of people that have already kind of resounded themselves to the idea that they will need to continue to work even though they are well into their late 60s and 70s. They're going to continue to work because they have to, not necessarily because they want to. And that is simply just because they understand that based on the amount of money that they have saved, they're going to run out of money at a certain point. So if you are counting exclusively on your savings in order to fund your retirement, you're playing a game that is mostly out of your hands. And I say that specifically because dramatic market shifts can wipe out your retirement account. People don't want to talk about that reality, but the reality is if you are invested uh, in different funds or in stocks or whatever that is. And for whatever reason, the market takes a huge dive that can potentially wipe out your retirement savings. So, something else to consider. The other question that someone else could be asking is, could I afford my life if income kept coming? Now, this is an income question. With this, you build streams of income that keep earning for you month in, month out, year in, year out. You don't have to spend down a pile, the streams keep flowing. And this is mostly inside your control. Now, this was something, or this concept really came to me a couple years ago because I was having a conversation with my husband, and both of us are entrepreneurs. Both of us have been business owners for quite some time. I have run. I've basically been an entrepreneur for the past 20 plus years, and in that, I have mostly not participated in businesses, or my let me say this differently. My businesses have not been ones that generate passive income. I have always had to actively work in the business in order for it to produce income. That could be taking appointments, phone calls, taking orders, that type of stuff. Now, what his conversation with me was, we really want to focus on building our passive income streams and building our businesses in such a way that they are bringing in reliable monthly income month in and month out. And it's so basic, but it's something that I really miss because, one of my biggest things is freedom. I like to be able to do what I want, when I want, and how I want. I want to be able to make as much money as I want to make. And that's why I've always pursued entrepreneurship. But alternatively, if I am just, in a position where I constantly every single month I'm starting from zero and I have to keep rebuilding every month, then I just have I basically have a job. So what we want to talk about is asking a different question. How can I afford my life if income keeps coming? If you ask a different question, you're going to get a different answer. And that answer can actually, make the difference between a life where you are actively having to keep working for the rest of your life, or you are able to live a free lifestyle based on what you really want to do. Now let's go through the retirement replaced model. With this model, you're not ignoring your savings. That is definitely a major component of what we encourage and what we want you to do. But you want to stop betting your whole retirement on it. You want to diversify your income the same way that you would diversify a portfolio. So the first step is you want to stabilize your foundation. You want to make sure you have decent cash flow, that your debt is under control, that your credit is good, and that you have an ample emergency cushion. This is the base under everything that you're going to build. The second step is to build your first income stream. Now, one income stream that you're going to choose on purpose and you're going to run for at least 6 months until it's actually working. And number three, you're going to stack with intention. You're going to add additional streams that share systems and skills, not three random side hustles, but a stack that compounds. So in this session, we're going to be picking your first stream on purpose. So that's what we're going to get into. But before we do that, um, let's actually look at this. Build the first one income stream chosen on purpose for at least 6 months. Um, let's get into part three, the 4 pathways. Which pathway is for you? Now, here's a brief overview of the 4 different pathways at a glance. We have the foundation fast track, which is best for people who need income fast. Your target is about $500 to $2,000 plus per month within the next 90 days. Some examples of, well, we'll get it more into that in just a few minutes, but let's go through just the basic categories so you can be familiar. So we have the foundation fast track. We have the side hustle to scale, which is best for people with a skill or expertise to monetize. We have asset-based income, which is best for with people with capital that they have ready to deploy. And then we have the business building, which is building a long-term brand or business. So let's go ahead and get into each pathway. Now, first we have the foundation fast track. This is for somebody who needs income now, not someday. They may have debt in the picture. Maybe savings aren't where they need to be. This pathway is fast starting income, things they can launch in 30 to 90 days with the skills, the time, or licenses you already have access to. So with the foundation fast track, your initial target income is going to be anywhere between $500 to $2,000 plus per month. And you want to get to that within the first 90 days. The time required on this pathway is going to be approximately 10 to 15 hours per week. And that can be around your existing job. The startup costs of the foundation fast track are low. They are generally in the hundreds, if that, definitely not in the thousands. And here's some examples of what it could look like. You have a mobile notary. You could do loan signings, general notarizations, credit services, maybe provide credit profile education. You could do reselling. You could go to local thrift shops and purchase items and then resell them through online arbitrage. You could be a delivery or a gig worker, do DoorDash, Uber, Instacart, or Flex. You could be an affiliate of a product or service where you market and promote a particular service or product, and you get a commission for bringing referrals to that business. You could open up a cleaning business. You could do residential or Airbnb turnover. You could do pet care where you're doing dog walking, you're doing dog sitting or boarding. Or you could do bookkeeping, so basic books or virtual assistant support. And what I want to stress on this particular pathway is that this particular pathway is a great opportunity to help you to elevate your financials. You know, one of the biggest reasons why people don't have adequate income for retirement is because they have high debt and high expenses. However, if you're able to increase your income and use those funds to pay down your debt, or to put additional money towards your investments so that they can grow faster, then you're going to get exponential results. So this is what I want to leave you with when it comes to Foundation Fast Track. These particular models are generally not recurring income models. However, they are income generators that can help you to pay down your debt. They can help you to have additional funds to invest into different, you know, retirement streams so that you can grow your retirement savings and investments a lot faster and catch up to that $2 million plus mark a lot easier. So that's what I want to leave you with when it comes to the Foundation Fast Track. Let's talk about the second pathway, which is the side hustle to scale. This pathway is for someone who already has a skill that people already pay for. So, for example, you've spent 20 plus years building your expertise, leadership, sales, your ops, your project management, design, training, or writing skills. So someone is already paying someone else for what you know. There are people that are literally waving their checkbook, waving their credit card, looking to pay someone to help them in areas of expertise that you may have. So, what we want you to do with this pathway is package your experience into something that earns without you having to quit your job. You're leveraging your knowledge and your expertise, and you are earning income as a result of that. So, with this, your initial target income is between $3,000 to $5,000 per month on a part time basis. The time required for this can be, between 5 to 10 hours per week around your existing job. The startup cost for it can be very low, often under $500 to start. And some examples can be consulting, coaching, tutoring, and freelancing. So those are some common examples from this particular pathway. Let's talk about the third pathway, asset-based income. This is for someone with assets that want to work while you don't. This is, when you start getting into the passive income streams where you're not actively having to trade your time in order for you to make money. So this pathway is not trading time for dollars. It's deploying something that works while you don't. It can be a car, it could be a trailer, it could be a storage unit, a spare room. The asset earns whether you're at the desk or you're asleep. This is beautiful. I love asset-based income. So with this, your initial target income is going to be between $800 to $2,000 per asset per month net. So with that being said, if you are in the car rental business, your initial income target would be anywhere between $800 to $2,000 per car per month after expenses. That's what we're looking for when it comes to asset-based income. Now, the time required for asset-based income is front-loaded. There may be an initial heavy setup period. Then, after you get those initial processes and forms and, legal structure for your business, then most of that is going to be taken care of by systems. So that's what I want you to know about the time required. In terms of startup costs, it may be a little bit higher. You may need capital or financing if you don't already have those assets. However, if you're somebody who already has an additional vehicle or a trailer or a storage unit or a spare room, you can leverage an asset that you already have and start generating income based on, what you already have. So that startup cost can actually be relatively low if that's the case. Now, some examples, again, can be private car rental, equipment rental, storage facilities, or room rental. So that is the asset-based income pathway. Let's talk about the business building pathway. Now, this is for someone building something bigger. This isn't a side hustle. It's a brand. This is a service business, an online business. It may have a longer ramp up period, but a ceiling that actually moves. You actually can really, really grow your business to a large scale. The work is in the systems, the offers, the marketing, the delivery, the team, and your automation. Now, your target income is totally uncapped when it comes to building a business. This is because real businesses scale. If you build a system and you are able to automate that system so that it repeats easily over and over and over again, then your income can scale very easily. Now, the time required for building a business can be pretty heavy. You may be looking at between 6 to 18 months of a runway before you actually start to get traction in your business and are really seeing the large scale return on your income. Now, the startup cost for this can be variable. It could be low if you are building a service based business, or it can be a bit higher if you have a product that maybe you need to have inventory for. So, some examples of that are like, again, your service based brands, online businesses, or even affiliate type businesses. What I want to do actually right now, let me go and show you this other document that I prepared for you. And I'm actually going to make this available in the community as well with this replay. And I've put together a document that shows you different ideas of income stream examples. So, literally, I'm giving you examples, just some things to get your wheels, turning about, different things that you may be able to do within each category. So we have the foundation fast track. We have a variety of different options here that you can look into that fit within that pathway. Your side hustle to scale. We have 20 different uh, examples within each pathway just to give you an idea. So obviously, you don't have to pick these particular examples. However, it can give you some ideas on what may be good to pursue in each pathway. Okay, so let's get into part 4, finding your lane from a feeling to a pathway. And with this, we're going to actually go through and take the income stream pathway assessment. Now, what this income stream pathway assessment does, it actually matches you to one of the 4 pathways based on your real situation and not someone else's. So it's going to match you to the appropriate pathway based on your urgency. Do you need income now, or do you have a runway? Your time frame, what you can realistically commit to weekly in terms of your activity, your capital, what you can deploy, or what you need to fund first, your skills, what you already have to leverage. And why this works, it actually cuts through the noise. You stop spinning, you stop guessing, you stop watching 10 more YouTube videos before you pick. One of the biggest things that people have a tendency to do is just get into research land or getting ready to get ready. We really want you to get ideas, understand what income streams or income pathways make the most sense for you, get you an idea of what fits your life and your lifestyle, and make a decision so that you can start building that income stream and actually put those funds to work so you can actually benefit from the power of compounding, which is definitely our friend. We want to be able to compound interest and get our money to work for us so that we can build our retirement accounts and build our finances to a point where it's exactly where we want it to be. So with this, again, it will auto categorize you into either foundation, fast track, side hustle to scale, asset based, or business building. It'll give you a starting point that you can act on this week and not give you a 200-page download that is going to, get you all in the weeds and going to take you much longer to get implemented. So, actually, this should say I initially said 5 minutes, but we're going to take 2 minutes. I want you to find your pathway. Now, what I'm going to do is post the link for this in the chat so that you can actually take this income stream assessment. I'm actually going to share this tab, share the link. This is what it looks like. You're going to go here and click on Take the Pathway Assessment. It's going to lead you to this, and you're just going to ask. It's going to ask you like 4 basic questions. Go through and answer those questions honestly. And then when you get to the end, it's going to recommend a particular pathway based on your situation. I want you to read what the suggestion is after you get there, and so you know exactly where you stand. So let's go ahead and get into that. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to do that. Let's stop that. You should have your particular pathway at this point. I'm gonna go back and share the screen. Okay, so now that you've taken the assessment and you know what your pathway result means, and what to do next, let's just talk really fast through what these particular pathways are all about. Your foundation fast track, you want to stabilize first. You want to maybe pay down some debt, get your credit a little higher, make sure that you have a good emergency fund cushion, and then you want to pick one fast start income stream from the on ramp grid. You want to you want to make sure that you are, taking action. You want to get into creating an income as fast as possible. So again, you're going to reference the document that I showed you earlier with some examples of great income streams that you can pursue that are on that pathway. And speed to first dollar definitely matters within this pathway. So make sure that you are taking action. Uh, as far as the side hustle to scale, with this one, you want to identify the skill that you already have. You want to build one clear offer at one clear price. Find your first 3 clients before you build anything else. On asset based income, you want to get funding ready first. Most people skip this and pay for it later. Then deploy capital into one asset and dial in your systems. So, this is really, really important. If you're looking to have assets that you are earning income from, it makes a lot of sense to be able to purchase uh, assets without using your own money. We're looking to create additional revenue and not deplete our savings unnecessarily if we don't have to. So, wisely using funding in a way where the interest is less than the percentage of return that you're going to get from your asset, then it totally makes a lot of sense. Now, for your business building, um, this may have a long runway. You may want to pair it with a foundation or side hustle stream that funds you while you are building. Now, let's talk about part 5, the stack. How you go from one stream to many streams without burning out, going broke, or having shiny object syndrome. Uh, and making that your way to nowhere. You definitely want to make sure that you are not suffering from ADD because you are trying to do too many things at once, particularly if you're currently working a 9 to 5 right now. Now, let's talk about why you don't stack on day one. The trap is, you decide to take on 3 income streams because they all sound fantastic. They sound like stuff that you're interested in, stuff that you have a background in. Maybe you're thinking you can do notary on Monday, you'll do Turo on Tuesday, you'll freelance on the weekend. And with that, you're going to also need 3 different setups. You're going to have 3 different learning curves and 3 different sets of customers, all needing different types of things. So 6 months later, a little bit of everything, you'll be doing a little bit of everything, and your traction will be minimal because you're spreading yourself out too thin. You're going to be potentially burned out, convinced income streams don't work for people like me. So that is the trap. Now, the truth is that you should focus on just one income stream initially until it's actually starting to work. And you want to pick the pathway your assessment surfaced. You want to run it for at least 6 months, and that's where the data lives. If you start something and you only do it for a month, then you're not giving it a realistic uh, chance to actually see if it can be profitable. With anything that you're doing, it's going to take a ramp up period. It's going to take a moment for you to be able to get enough data on if people are interested, on how sales are going, all that good stuff before you can say, hey, this model is not working or it's not for me. You want to get to predictable revenue and stable systems before you start stacking, before you start adding additional revenue streams to your stack. And you only want to stack when stream 1 doesn't need your daily attention. And, I'll speak to this because right now I have multiple businesses, and this particular slide is very much based on my own personal experience. It can be extremely overwhelming trying to manage one business, do the marketing, follow up with clients, build, the systems that you need to have, and then knowing that you need to do it across various businesses and keeping all of those assets straight it's a lot. So definitely before you start, from zero, opening up multiple, income streams, you want to make sure that you are focusing on one, putting all of your attention and energy to it until it becomes successful. And then you can go ahead and pursue adding an additional stream. Now let's talk about the stack sequence. What comes after stream one? Stream one is between 0 to 6 months. In this period, you're building your engine. You run the income stream that you scored on the highest. You build systems so it doesn't depend on your heroic effort. And you get predictable revenue, even if it's smaller than you want. This is what you're going to be focusing on for the first 6 months. And definitely one of the biggest areas of focus that you will want to do is making sure you're building systems around the things that need to be done in your business. So if it is marketing, maybe you spend, your Sunday batch creating all of your marketing for the week so you don't have to look up every day and scramble to put all of that stuff together. That's an example of building your system so that it makes it more streamlined and makes it easier, especially if you're dealing with this income stream on a part-time basis. Now, that's how you want to focus stream one. On stream two, you've already waited for your at least 6 months, between 6 months to 12 months. You want to stack what compounds. So you can add a stream that shares the same systems or skills that you have with your stream one. You want to look for natural pairings that have the same customer, same tools, and you want to avoid income streams that compete for your prime hours. Now, this is major. My background is in real estate. I have been a real estate agent. I've been a mortgage broker, loan officer, and then I've also owned a credit business for the past 10 years. So with that, uh, the credit business, I have also built into it a funding offer. So I offer funding for my clients, and I also offer business and personal trade lines to help them to build their credit profile. So all of those things are natural additions or natural pairings to the initial offer, which is credit, and which is also related to real estate, because a lot of people who are looking to purchase real estate, they're interested in getting their credit in order, and they're definitely interested in getting funding. So it all kind of flows together and stacks on each other. So it's a natural additional stream. Now, when you start talking about stream three, you want to wait until at least that 12 months. You have those two streams you've been operating for at least in another additional 6 months, and then you can add on an additional stream. And with this, you want to diversify the risk. 1 and 2 are humming. You can add like a non-correlated income stream at that point. If 1 and 2 are time-based, make number 3 asset-based, or vice versa. When I say time-based, I mean it's something that you need to actively work. You're devoting your time into at this present time. And, we know asset-based is basically owning a particular asset that is earning us money while we're not actively working or trading time for those dollars. This is the stream that protects you when one channel goes quiet. Now, this is really an important thing. I'm a big, big proponent of asset-based income and passive income because, again, it can add stability to your finances. There are a lot of things that can happen within, our economy, so definitely having multiple income streams is wise, and definitely diversifying so that if there are some changes, particularly in your industry, you can still have some stability within your streams. Now, let's get into some examples, some three stack combinations that actually work. Now, let's talk about the same customer stack. And an example of this could be a mobile notary, and that is Foundation Fast Track. And then you could become a loan signing specialist, which is more of a side hustle to scale. It requires some additional training and specialization. And then you could move to business building, which you could train and license other notaries to be able to uh, specialize in their jobs. So, again, it's the same customer base. It could be real estate, attorneys, lenders, and each step raises your hourly rate. So you're making more and more money each with each level, but you're also building on the existing audience that you've already built. Now let's talk about another stack, the skill and leverage stack. Now this could be one-on-one coaching. Maybe you're doing one-on-one coaching. This is a side hustle to scale. So you are a specialist in, maybe you're a specialist in resume writing, and you are coaching clients on how to build great resumes in order to land the job of their dreams. So then you decide to put together a group cohort. So you may do a cohort for a 6-week period where you get a number of people who are also interested in uh, expanding their resume writing skills. You get them together, you meet for 6 weeks, and you educate them on that process. And now you, instead of making, money off of that one individual, you now are able to leverage and have a group where you are making money off of a group of people. So you're increasing your income and reducing the amount of time that you need to work in order to increase your income. And another example that you could use on the skill to leverage stack is building an online course or membership. So now that you have done this 6-week cohort, perhaps maybe you have recorded those sessions that you've done with that group. You could maybe even turn that into an online course, or you could create a membership community where you're bringing people together to educate them on that particular topic, and you're charging a monthly fee in order for them to gain access. So you start off with your skill, whatever that skill is, and you're leveraging the, going from one-on-one coaching into things that don't require as much of your time. First the group cohort, and then into a course or membership that, is passive and doesn't require your active time. So that's another example. And let's get into the asset multiplier stack. Now, an example of this would be the private car rental business. That would be an asset-based income stream. With that, then you could potentially get into equipment or trailer rentals. So again, that's still asset-based income. And then you could get into consulting other people about how to get into the private car rental business or the equipment rental business. So you are multiplying your assets in order to build your income there. So you're going from a service provider with your car rental business, your equipment rental business, into consulting, where you're now making money by educating others on how to do what you've done. Now, what I want to make sure that you have rooted in your mind is that you want to devote at least 6 months minimum of focused effort on one income stream before you change direction. We've talked about that, but I want you to really grasp that it is a process, especially if you've never done anything in terms of entrepreneurship. It can potentially get discouraging because it may feel like nothing's happening at first. And I want to liken it to, um, I've had someone describe the process of entrepreneurship as like a rocket ship. It takes a whole lot of energy for a rocket ship to leave the gravitational pull of the Earth. And when you watch a rocket ship launch off, it seems like it's moving really, really, really slow. You'll see it just slowly, 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 slowly ascend into the air. And then suddenly it is able to get so much inertia that it breaks that gravitational pull and then it soars. And that's exactly how business building works. So you don't want to be the person that gives up or walks away because in the beginning it doesn't look like you are launching. Month one, it's going to potentially look bad. You're going to be in the setup mode. You're going to be dealing with a learning curve, and you may be dealing with your first hard no's. Not maybe, you likely will be dealing with some hard no's. You don't want the no's to discourage you. Keep on going. Month three, it may look mediocre. You're starting to get a few clients and you're still tempted to quit because you're like, hey, this is not looking like what I expected it to be. It's slow moving. I'm not making as much money as I want to. I don't know. And then month six is when you're going to start to actually see it work. Now you have the data on what works and what doesn't work, how to generate new clients, how to systemize your processes. So, definitely, it's important to at least give yourself that 6 months to really, really give yourself the opportunity to have success. Now, your next step, showing up, was decision one. What you do next is the one that actually matters. I want you to consider what your one action is going to be from this session. I want you to post in the community, I chose whatever your income stream is, and here's why it scored the highest for me. This is the reason why I want you to do that is because I want you to do a public proclamation because we want to actually support you within the community. It's going to lock your decision. Saying it out loud makes it real, and you're more likely to actually start if you have that type of public proclamation of what you're up to. It invites accountability. The community will actually check in on you, and I want you to use that because it's going to help you to be more accountable and actually take the necessary steps to move things forward. And it surfaces help. Someone in the community has done what you're doing or knows someone who does. They'll find you, they'll help you, they'll support you. And that's totally what this community is all about. Now, what you do next is what matters. I'm proud of each and every one of you that showed up on this session, and I hope that you got some real value and have a better understanding of our process and how the income stream pathways work within our community. Again, I want to thank you for hopping on this session, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.